It's Thursday, November 6th, and you're watching the Sick Podcast, Trust the Process. As we've promised, folks, today we'll be tackling the 2018 NHL Draft, and Snake and I will be redrafting the top 15. As you'll see, it's not a very deep draft, but a very good draft for defensemen, and safe to say, Snake, a horrible draft for centers. We're going to dive into all of that. We're also going to get to Snake's hot take a little later on. And, of course, as always, we're going to go digging in our mailbag. It's going to be a fun show, and it all starts right here, right now.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Trust the process. The sickest NHL prospect podcast with Snake and Shayne.
With the 5th overall selection in the 2024 NHL Draft, the Montreal Canadiens are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
It's gonna be sick.
That's right. Producer Shayne here, joined as always by my great co-host Simon the Snake Boisvert. Snake, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you, Shayne?
I'm doing excellent. I'm doing really good. And you know what? This weekend, I will be following your advice, your leadership, actually, in changing my winter tires. Okay. And I hope you're all doing the same. But if you're not, if you're a little bit of a laggard, it's okay. We got you. Okay. Point S and GT Radial are offering you the chance to win a new set of GT Radial winter tires, plus free installation at a Point S garage. That is a total value of $1,000. Okay. Now, jot this information down. Okay. In order to participate, you must first go to the Sick Podcast Instagram page and like and comment on the pinned post. After that, you go to the Sick Podcast and Point S on Instagram and you hit that follow button. Okay. If you're doing those things, you are entered to win. The contest ends November 16th. Point S is your trusted garage for complete vehicle care. Okay, snow is around the corner. We're supposed to get some on Sunday. So let's activate, folks. Hit that, enter that contest so you can win some tires. Snake, it's going to be a fun show today. I'm excited about this. I did a lot of digging into the 2018 draft, which would have been my draft year had I been good at hockey. I was a 2000 baby, so
mine was 1984.
I don't.
Mario Lemieux.
Was it a good year?
Yeah.
But the 2018 draft was a really interesting one because we remember prior to the draft, it was all about Rasmus Dahlin, right? He was the next defenseman. I mean, this guy was uncontested, number one guy. And pretty easily, Svechnikov was the number 2 guy, right? It started to get interesting at number 3. I remember Filip Zadina was being touted as like, a lot of people want Filip Zadina at number 3. It was a very weird draft, Snake, and we're going to highlight that right here. How about you get us started with your number 1 pick, which, again, I think should be pretty easy.
I don't know, Shayne. I don't know.
Oh,
because 70 years ago, it was very, very hard for me to decide between Rasmus Dahlin and Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
And at the time, I took a lot of heat on the social media because Rasmus Dahlin was untouchable.
Yeah.
He was the Connor McDavid of defensemen. Everyone was raving about his potential, his World Junior performance, the fact that, at 16, he was playing pro. And I said, wait a minute. Quinn Hughes is an amazing, amazing offensive defenseman. But I ranked Dahlin first, just by a hair. This year, I go with Dahlin again.
So you take Rasmus Dahlin number 1 overall?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because look, they're only because what the exercise we're doing is a mix of past, present, and future. Like, I think Quinn Hughes so far has been better than Rasmus Dahlin overall.
Yes.
And if I'm going to be a season ticket holder, I'd rather go see Quinn Hughes play if I'm going to pay $10,000 a year for a season ticket. But I'm looking into the future. Dahlin's only 25. He's very, very strong, both ends of the ice, which Quinn Hughes is not. Not as good offensively, but he's been playing on a pretty awfully managed team, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Horrible.
Over the years. And one might argue, well, why didn't he make them better? You know, the way Matthew Schaefer is making the Islanders better.
Yeah.
So I really, really hesitated a long, long time. But I think if I were to build a team for the next 6-7 years, I think I go with Dahlin over Hughes number 2. Well, I'm curious to see what you have to say about it.
Yeah. I know in the comments section, people have been asking us to have more debates, right? Disagree more. I can't disagree with Snake if he has good takes, okay? Like, if I agree with him, I'll agree.
Same here. Yeah. I didn't agree with Matthew and Celebrini and your fantasy.
That one I'll get flack on for a while. I think he is fantastic. But I'll have to disagree on this one, Snake. I think
you go with Quinn Hughes.
I think Quinn Hughes is just phenomenal. Like, this player is unreal. He is a true number 1 superstar caliber defenseman. Just for that profile alone, I think he's worthy of number 1. He won a Norris Trophy, right? He's taken his team to the playoffs. He has 26 points in 30 career playoff games, 416 points in 443 regular season games. That is almost a point per game production from a defenseman. It's completely insane. You know, and again, I am a big fan of Rasmus Dahlin. I you know, we'll get to where I have him. Might not be number 2, but I'm a big fan of his.
You know, I'm not even a big fan of Rasmus Dahlin.
Really?
Which is the strange thing. I wouldn't pay to watch Rasmus Dahlin play hockey.
But he is so efficient.
I'm just trying to... Well, efficient, you said it.
He's good.
Yeah, well, that's why I rank him number 1 still. Yeah. But it's more like from a scout's point of view, a very, very neutral point of view that I rank him number 1. Of course, I prefer Quinn Hughes in terms of, you know, the entertainment value of Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna pound on the table and disagree with you on this one, but I give you my reasons. I think I'm torn, but I have to go with Dahlin.
I think the top 3 is you know, you can make arguments for any of the top 3 guys, but again, I just cannot not put Quinn Hughes number 1. I look and listen, if he gets traded to the New Jersey Devils or he signs there, we're gonna see, you know, take that next step. Like,
I love his brother Luke also.
Yeah, imagine
I had him number 1 in 2021. Yeah, it was a weak draft, but I had him number 1. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this. I think number 3, we're not going to argue for long.
No, that's it. You
are you thinking about an? Well, yes and no. Who did you have at number 2 after Quinn Hughes?
Pains me to say this, Snake, but
Brady?
I do have to say Brady Tkachuk.
Oh, okay.
I do have to say, and again, I think you'll see a theme with my reasonings here.
Okay.
I am a massive proponent of drafting for championships. I do not care about, you know, okay, you're doing well in the season. If you're not taking your team to the playoffs, if you're not performing in the playoffs, you are virtually useless. Okay. Brady Tkachuk is made for the playoffs, and he showed it last season against the Toronto Maple Leafs. 7 points in 6 games. He was dominant. Now, he will go to the playoffs more often now that the Senators are looking better.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this year, but yeah, I get your point.
We'll see. But, Snake, the reason I almost put him at 3rd, I was very close. And the reason is, in 515 career games, he has 754 penalty minutes. All right, that is an average of 1:46 per game. That means he's taking a minor penalty every single game. Now, okay, we're going to get going here. you can say, okay, this guy's an intense player, right? He's taking intensity penalties, right? He's hard on the forecheck, throwing big hits. That's important. Those are penalties I'm willing to live with. It's the useless, selfish penalties that dock him points for me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When he's not on the ice, he's not efficient, right? He's not playing. That's not good. And on top of that, he's putting his team in danger.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. I don't like that at all. And listen, there was this whole discourse this summer saying, oh, Brady's more focused on the hockey part of a hockey game, right? We didn't get to see that because he got injured. Maybe he'll get that fixed. And if he does, he's my number 2. But there's arguments to put Dahlin above him. No question about it. Like, I don't blame you if you did at all.
Okay, well, I go with Tkachuk at number 3.
Yeah.
I'll take defensemen over wingers. That's pretty much my argument. But your takes are good. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Brady Tkachuk very much in the playoffs in the last few years. I think he's only been there once. He was good. He's a money player, I would say. And if this guy had played on championship teams, he might have won a Conn Smythe trophy, if you see my point. Exactly. But I go with him at number 3. So I guess we have the same top 3, but in a very different order.
I think most people should have that same top 3. I think they've separated themselves from the pack quite well. But Snake, I think this draft gets really interesting.
Yeah, that's where it becomes interesting.
Because there are a lot of contenders. And again, I'm not going to, unless you give me a really weird name here, there's legitimate arguments for at least 4 guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, and most of them are first-round picks, like in the next few picks but not all of them.
No.
Which happens every draft.
Yeah.
Now, at number 4, again, I'm going with past and future. I'm trying to blend both. I'm going with a Habs player. Noah Dobson.
Yeah.
I go with Noah Dobson. I really like what he did in New York so far. And I like what he's doing in Montreal. And I see what he can bring to the table, to the Habs for the next few years. So I have Dobson at 4. I think I don't remember where I had him in the 2018 draft, but I knew he was in my top 10. Liked him a lot in the queue. I think he became the type of player that he showed he was going to be in junior hockey. Some players you're kind of surprised they get better at certain things, they get worse at other things. But other players, you see them playing junior hockey, you watch them 7-8 years playing in the NHL, and you're like, okay, this is exactly the same player we expected. So I go with Dobson at number 4. How about you?
Yeah.
Where did you have Dobson?
I highly considered it, but I have him number 5. I have him number 5, and listen, he's interchangeable with number 4. I really like.
Okay, so don't tell me number 4 right away. Don't tell me number 4. I'm going to go down my list, and once number 4 pops up, you tell me.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep that one a secret. But for Noah Dobson, I mean, listen, this player is, for me, he's sort of this kind of 1B, transitional, offensively minded, but responsible defenseman. He's kind of like the whole package in a sense. He does lack a little bit of physicality, and he hasn't really done great in the playoffs. That's kind of why I docked him a little bit. 10 points in 31 games, could be better. But again, I think on a contending team, this guy is, if he's your number 2, I mean, you're cruising. Like, he is an excellent defenseman. So
like I mentioned about the Habs defense, I don't think right now it's a question of number 1, number 2, number 3.
Right.
It's just that they each of them can do something. And that's what really matters. So obviously, Lane Hudson is your number 1 offensive defenseman. Is he your number 1 defenseman? I don't know. I don't know if Dobson is a number 1 either, because he lacks the offense that Lane has. Mm-hmm. But if you put the 2 together, you pretty much get the perfect player, almost. Yeah. But then you add Goulet and Carrier and so Madison. So it's very, very, it's a very good mix, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's a very good mix. So at number 5, I have Kirill Marchenko.
I like that. I like that a lot.
He hasn't been in the league for long.
Yep.
But I mean, the guy's on the way up.
Yep.
Okay. So that's why I have Marchenko at number 5. He was a steal in the second round. I don't know if it was the Russian factor, the fact that they knew they wouldn't have him right away, but he was good. He was good in junior hockey. And I think had he played in Canada as a junior player, I think he would have been drafted higher, probably in the first round. He was drafted 49th overall. So that was a very, very good pick by Columbus, considering that, I mean, the draft was so weak after the first few picks. So they did a very good job.
Yeah.
Where do you have Marchenko?
I got him at 49th. I have him 6th. Right behind Dobson. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right
We're
still haven't got my number 4.
Yeah. And I want to remind listeners that we didn't exchange any lists before. No. We didn't talk. That's the fun of it. We're sort of discovering each other's lists without influencing each other. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to number 6 now. Another guy.
I got more on Marchenko.
Oh, go ahead.
Because you brought up some great points, right? He's on the ascension. That to me is a big factor. He is progressing at 25, 26 years old. That is huge. I mean, he is a point per game player this year, right? Last season, he was incredible. It's, and I mean, he's obviously Columbus's best winger. He already taken that role. He's a big boy. The whole profile, I mean, you could definitely consider him top 5. I have him 6, but again, it's interchangeable. Let's go to your number 6.
Yeah, again, I'm looking more about the future than what he's done so far. Although this year he's taken pretty much he's become a number 1 goalie. You know who it could be?
Oh, I love this. Yep.
Quack quack. That's
Lucas Dostal.
Yeah, I have him at number 6. The guy was a late round pick, like most goalies are, I guess. And he's taken over the net in Anaheim. I think he's a solid goaltender. He might not be a superstar, but I think he's a solid goaltender. And I think the Ducks are fine with him. If they ever go far in the playoffs, I don't think he'll be hurting them, let's call it. So, again, I'm going with more future than past. And I have him at number 6. Where did you have him?
More than fair. I actually have him on my fantasy team, and he's doing excellent for me.
Good for you. He's winning games. Yeah.
Oh, is he ever?
You should have said that in your advice to listeners. You should have mentioned Dostal. Oh, you did. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, but
talked about goaltenders. I did
instead of Celebrini.
Listen, I'm
gonna stop. I'm gonna stop because they're gonna think I'm picking on you. And I make a lot of mistakes too in fantasy hockey. So look, I'm just teasing you.
Take accountability for this. Celebrini is the highest scoring player in the NHL so far this season. My take looks pretty bad, but again, my reasoning was because the Sharks.
I understand your reasoning.
Bad.
Yeah. Well, now they're playing a little bit better now, I have to say.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But who knows what's going to happen? It's a long season. Where did you have Dostal?
I have him 8th.
8th.
But again, interchangeable. Like I considered him 6th. Like he is that good. It's just the sample size is not big enough for me, and I kind of just see him as like a promising starting goalie, maybe not a franchise, number 1 kind of guy. But again, you take him at 7. I have no problem. 7 or 6. I have no problem with that. Like
imagine,
really good.
Shayne, and I say this all the time: if someone had Dostal in their top 10 in 2018,
you'd look crazy.
Yeah,
he went 85th.
No, but it goes to show you that whenever I see lists, public lists before draft, of course, there's lots of things I don't agree with, but I'll never insult someone who goes a little bit out of bounds with some surprising name, because there are surprises every year. Mm-hmm. So I'll never make fun of someone. I might say, oh, okay, that's surprising. What's your reasoning? But I'll never make fun, because these things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, at number 7, I still haven't.
You haven't got my number 4.
Yeah, I still don't see your number 4 yet. Maybe that's the one. I'm not sure. Okay, this guy a few years ago, I would have had him at number 3 or number 4. based on what he's done.
Mhm.
But the last 2-3 years, I've been a little bit disappointed. It's Andrei Svetnikov.
Okay.
But I have to have him at number 7 because he is still, he performed well so far. Haven't given up on him, but I've been a little bit disappointed. So I have, I don't know what happened with him. It's hard to pinpoint because he was so promising. And this is one Russian guy who came to America at age 16.
Yeah.
Plays in the USHL. Then he came to the Q for Cape Breton. And I think this is a guy who he was the clear-cut number 2 pick, remember?
I remember.
For,
there was no
for
debate.
most people. It was
No
Darlene Svetnikov. Svetnikov. I had him number 3 at the time behind Quinn Hughes.
Mhm.
But to me, he was going to be a 40-goal scorer.
Yeah.
Not so good so far. Well, I mean, okay, but not a 40-goal scorer by any means.
No.
Where did you have him?
7th.
Oh,
I have him the same spot as you.
Okay.
The regression for me, is scary because he has 3 points this season. Right. And last year wasn't great either.
No.
So it's like contrary to Marchenko, who's on the uphill, he's on the downhill. Like he's actually getting worse. And for a guy who's 25, 26, that is very concerning. Listen, the upside is there. Like he can definitely.
It's rare.
Yeah, he can definitely get back on track. Like he had some really, really good seasons. Listen, he's got 367 points in 489 games.
Yeah,
like, this is a really good forward, right? But he got supplanted by Jarvis, right? Seth Jarvis is the number 1 winger on Carolina now. He's not. Yeah. It's not Svechnikov. So I don't know. And I mean, we've said it on the show. Rod Brindamour is probably the most unpredictable coach in the NHL. He'll just switch up his lines up and down. That probably doesn't help, but at the same time, he's a really good coach. So and Carolina's a really good team. So there's not many excuses there for regression. I'm a little concerned, but again, the upside is still there. I like Svechnikov.
Now, what's hard when you do these lists in the middle of the players' careers is that your recency bias will get into play.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but when you look back, when they're all retired and you look back, then it's easier to get, okay, this guy was good for 7-8 years. This guy was good for 10 years. This guy won a couple of trophies. But right now, after 7 years, recency bias. Look at me with Marchenko, Dostal, and Svetnikov. That's recency bias. So we'll see.
But again, it's progression, right?
Yeah, also.
You have to kind of mix the both. Okay, it's like what we're seeing now, but it's also the trend. Okay, they're trending upward. This guy is trending downward. There's concern there, or there is optimism in some of their cases. So, recency bias, or how they're trending, however you want to look at it. I think it is a factor in this.
Now we're in the middle of this exercise.
Yeah.
This is getting complicated. Lots of interchangeable players because the players I have, 8 to 15, they all lack something.
Right.
Honestly, they have something good, but they lack something to be considered either complete players or stars. But I think they bring something to the table. But again, so at number 8, I'm still curious about your number 4 because now I'm running out of guys.
Yeah, I might have a little hot take here.
Oh yeah. Number 8, I went with K'Andre Miller.
Wow.
Yeah. Just because he's consistent, just because he's good. It's not great, but he's good. And like I say, the guys I have afterwards, there are so many holes in their game that, look, I'm playing it safe here, if I may say. If I'm redrafting, okay, I have a top 4 defenseman. Yeah, without the hassle of, the next guy on the list. Where did you have Miller? Did you have him in your top 15?
Yeah, I have him 9th, right behind.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
We are in agreement here. I think.
My God! So of my first 8 players, 7 of yours are in the top 10 or top 9 even.
Yeah.
So the real disagreement we have is at number 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I have a hot take with that one, but listen, Keandre Miller is, I think, is a reliable second pair defenseman. I mean, that's what you're getting, and at number 8 or number 9, if you're doing a redraft, that's a great value. Like he's not the most offensively gifted defenseman, but again, reliable. That's the key word here. You can trot him out on the ice, be comfortable with it. You know what? He'll get you a few points. I mean, 136 points in 374 games, not bad. So
look, it's a guy I had very high in 2018. I thought he was going to be a better point producer, to be honest with you. He showed more offensive skills as a junior player for national U.S. program, team development. So offensively, perhaps I was a little bit disappointed, but overall, I'm very happy with the career that he's had so far. I like this player.
And he's doing well in Carolina so far.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Number 9, oh boy. Look, the guy is really a power play specialist. I think you know. Okay, and he's very, very fortunate to be playing with the team he's playing with. Because I don't know if I would have him at number 9 if he didn't put up all the points that he does. Because defensively, he's indifferent. He's bad. He makes tons of mistakes.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
That would be Evan Bouchard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, I have him at 9 because I can't. Look, he has value. He brings value to the table. But he's really, really fortunate to have been in quite a perfect situation for him.
Yeah.
You know, good for him. Makes lots of money. But I don't know if he had been, with another team like Chicago or whoever, if he would be producing as much, because he's pretty bad defensively. Where did you have him? Oh, he's your number 4. Okay.
And
now, I want to hear you about this. I want to hear you.
I do this so that I'm not contradicting myself, because I said that power play. Freudian slip here. I said that playoff performance would be a massive factor in my ranking.
Yes.
He's gone to the Stanley Cup final twice. And again, I understand this is a team sort of factor, but he has 81 points in 75 playoff games is not a fluke. That is 1.8 point per game in the playoffs. Regular season, meh, hit or miss. But in the playoffs, he's actually a weapon. And he does have an X factor. His shot is among the best in the league. Right. And of course, he's getting teed up by some of the best players in the league. Right. It's pretty easy to get points when you got McDavid and Draisaitl on your power play.
Just like he was playing with the London Knights. It was the same thing in junior hockey. Yeah.
But at the same time, you know what? He is getting those points. He is putting the puck back in the net. Like, he is actually producing, and he is producing when it matters most. That to me is a big factor. Snake, I toggled him 4 to 8. Like, I was bringing him up and down. I didn't know where to put this guy because, like you said, he is a liability defensively. No question about it. But I think he does have an X factor, and I think that playoff performance is good enough to go top 5. I'd be curious, though, if Noah Dobson was on the Edmonton Oilers, right? How would he look? I think Noah Dobson could be better, right? But he hasn't really had that chance, right? I mean, New York Islanders aren't exactly a offensive powerhouse, and you know what? He's doing okay with the Habs, but
Bouchard is still the 5th best scorer of his draft class. He's number 5, behind Hughes, Tkachuk, Dahlin, Svetnikov.
Yeah.
Look, my only argument I would have, if I were in a draft meeting with you, and the way I would challenge you is, aren't you bothered by his nonchalant play defensively and his very, very average skating, especially, when he has to back off and try and defend? It's
a significant, minus, if you will, but I think it can be minimized if he's insulated properly, right? Okay. His D partner is Matthias Ekholm,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that you can make up a better D partner for Evan Bouchard. Like,
Yeah, that was a good trade. That was a good trade by Ken Holland.
Excellent trade. So I think if he's insulated like he has been, obviously you're still going to see instances where he looks goofy, right? But it can be minimized with that kind of D partner. So for what he brings offensively, for what he brings in the playoffs, I would still take the gamble on him.
Yeah, that's why I had him at number 9 and not number 20.
Yeah. Oh, listen,
because I think I had him at 20 or 21 in his draft year for the reasons that I just mentioned. But look, he's putting points on the board. He's very useful on the power play. He's a very good point man. So, okay, interesting. We have the same top 9.
Yeah, exactly.
With one major discrepancy. I wonder what listeners think of Bouchard. That would be interesting because most people have seen him play a lot because he's been in the playoffs. He's gone far in the playoffs for a couple of years. I wonder what our listeners think, if they value more his offensive contribution than I do. And, interesting. I'd be curious to know the comments about Bouchard. Now, I think at number 10, look, this is where we're going to start going all over the map.
It's no good.
I think any pick is good. I mean, I think this is where it's going to change. Again, he brings something to the table. He's not a super offensive player, but ever since he was traded to Edmonton, I think he's blossomed. And I don't know. This is a guy I would like to have on my team in the middle of the lineup, Ryan McLeod.
Yeah, traded to Buffalo from Edmonton. Yes, I'm sorry.
The other way around.
You're good.
Yeah. Because I think it was a mistake. I know they needed to Edmonton needed to have some kind of salary cap relief, so they needed young players like Matthew Savoie. But Matthew Savoie is not there yet. Whereas Ryan McLeod was very useful for at some point for the Edmonton Oilers. And I think Buffalo made that trade because they needed more grit and they wanted more well-rounded players. So I think Kevin Adams, there's lots of things he didn't do well in the last few years.
Oh boy,
that was a great trade. I like Ryan McLeod. I have him as a very efficient middle of the lineup player and one of the fast skaters in the league.
Yeah.
Where did you have him?
11.
Oh,
again,
okay.
We're on the same page with this thing. Like,
that's not good. That's not good. We want debate.
Yeah, exactly. No, listen, he is a reliable middle 6 forward. That's the profile I wrote for him. Okay. Reliable middle 6 forward. Those are very useful. I mean, he's drafted 40th, right? So that's great value for Edmonton / Buffalo. He's not a super offensive production, but listen, very reliable. That's the key word here. You can give you good minutes, smooth skater, good defensively. Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Okay. Now, I honestly, I would have stopped this exercise at 10.
Yeah.
Because now I have players like they've been up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the guys I have on my list have been up and down. They're all interchangeable, honestly. All of them are interchangeable. And they all had ups and downs. So look, I'm going to try and see for the future who would fit better on my team, let's call it. So it's going to be more of a matter of like preference because of position or because of what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
So let's start with number 11. I have Rasmus Sandin.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah. He's good. He's not great. He's not like, he's a fine second pairing guy. So liked him in his draft year. He didn't become as good as I thought he would be. But, he's I don't understand why Toronto didn't keep him, really.
Yeah.
Because they need guys like this. They're not very good defensively. So, but again, I could have had him at 15. So I'm going with 11. What's your take on Rasmus Sandin? Did you have him in your top 15?
I considered him. Ultimately, he's an honorable mention for me.
Okay.
And the reasoning is that he is kind of just a depth defenseman with no real X factor. He does not really bring anything new to the table. He's kind of just there to give you decent minutes, you know, depth scoring in the sense, like he's okay offensively. Nothing to knock your socks off. He's pretty high on my honorable mentions. Like, if we kept going, he'd probably be 16, 17 for me.
17, yeah. No, I get it. Look, I understand. He's 15th overall in scoring from that draft year. So, okay. Number 12 is a guy who I thought a couple of years ago I would rank in the top 6 or 7.
Wow. But
he's lost a little bit of his luster in my book, but he had a couple of good seasons before he was traded. It was a surprising 5th round pick, Igor Sharangovich.
Yeah.
He was pretty good in New Jersey. I was very impressed. The first time I saw him, I was like, my God, who is this guy? Because I hadn't followed him very much when he was a younger player. He was very low-key in Russia. And when I said, wow, this is one of the steals of the draft as a 5th round pick. He's the 8th best scorer so far. So I'm going to go with him. I think he has more of an X factor than Sandin, I would say. It's just that I don't know where his career is going in Calgary, honestly. Where did you have? Did you have him on your top 15?
I have him 13th.
13th. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And it's funny, Snake, we talk about Evan Bouchard being a defensive liability.
Yeah.
This player has not had a single positive season. We're talking about plus minus. He is minus 65 in his career.
Yeah.
He's not good defensively, but listen, he puts up points. I mean, 201 points. And
he's highly skilled. Highly skilled. When you watch him play, he's highly skilled. He has one of the best hands in the draft. Yeah.
Again, he's got a bit of an X factor. I think he's like a, depth scoring middle 6 forward. That's more of where he, situates himself, in my opinion. Again, drafted 141st, though. That's really great value for.
It was probably the best value in the draft when you think about it.
Yeah. Easily.
Now at 13, I have another one of the best values in the draft. He had a couple of good seasons. He had a couple of very bad seasons. And now I think he's kind of like resurrecting his career this year in San Jose. It's Philipp Kurashev.
Interesting.
You used to play in the Q for Quebec, I think. And I have Kurashev at 13. Again, if we had done this exercise in June or July, I might have him lower. But I like what I've seen in San Jose so far. I think I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to keep him? Because San Jose has a tendency of signing players in order to trade them at the draft, at the trade deadline. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, I have him at 13. I think he brings something to the table offensively, but no more like a third liner on a very good team.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
he's an honorable mention for me as well. I considered him.
Okay,
I considered him for 14 or 15, but ultimately I went with guys who have more of an X factor. Yeah, it's kind of just like, again, depth scoring. Now he's kind of got a resurgence going on, but is it going to last? Bit of a confusing player for me. Yeah,
I agree with you. Now at number 14, I have a guy who I always thought the player was overhyped when he was when he was playing at the World Juniors. I think he was seen by a lot of fans in Montreal as a future star. Some were disappointed when he was traded. He was traded for the number 13 pick overall to New York. I have him 14. So that's probably what he's worth, a 13th overall pick. Yeah. So that was a fair deal when you think about it. Alex Romanov. Look, the guy plays, he's a minute muncher, I would call him. He doesn't show the offensive talent that he did show at the World Juniors, which made a lot of fans become very enthusiastic about him. Some saw him as a number 1 defenseman. But I have to admit, he's a fun player.
Yeah.
He's fine. Yeah. He's a minute muncher, top 4 guy. And in a weak draft like this, you go for that kind of player because who are you going to pick? Philip Zadina? No, but think about it. Look at what's left. And this guy. I
haven't gotten my number 10.
What?
My number 10 is still up there. You haven't gotten my number 10.
Interesting. Where did you have Romanov?
You have him 14th?
Yeah.
I have him 14th. What is this? No, again, it's the X factor.
Okay, we're going to stop calling the show Trust the Process. Change it to consensus.
My goodness. Listen, physical bottom four defenseman, right? That's the profile I have for him. Those are important. Like, come playoff time, those are the guys that punish the opposition. Listen, he's not going to be you're not going to be putting up big points, but again, that's not really his role. So I think just that X factor alone puts him in my top 15.
Okay, so we both have him at 14. So number 15, again, move. I think I went just like I did with Sharangovich. I went with past performance more than with what the guy is doing now, because I think he's not progressing at all. I went with Joel Farabee. Yeah. Where did you have him?
12.
Oh, okay, 12.
12.
He would have ranked much higher if I had done this redraft maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I think he would have been in the top 10. But now I don't see him as, as good as he was. And I don't know. It's like you said for Kurashev, it's a little bit of a mystery.
Yeah.
To me, that he didn't progress that much. But maybe it's the Calgary factor.
That's where
maybe it's the Calgary factor. Look at Sharangovich. Look at Farabee. What's wrong with Calgary?
They got nothing. No motion there. That's the issue.
And they have a new arena. They're building a new arena.
Yeah.
How are they going to sell these private booths and highly priced seats? With the kind of team that they're building. Are they building a team really?
Gavin McKenna. That's how they're going to sell Snake. That's how they're
you got to win the lottery. That's the problem. Look at the Sharks with Matthew Schaefer. They really tanked well last year.
Oh boy, yeah.
They did a great tanking job. They didn't get him.
Yeah.
So I think this has changed the way. Although if you finish last year, guaranteed the top 3 picks, but still, sometimes the difference between number 1 and number 3 is kind of interesting. But maybe not this year. Maybe not this year. Just hint about the hot take.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so where did you have? You had Farabee at 12.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm curious.
Could be my number 10.
How many players do we have that? Okay, is it only one player that
you have? 2 honorable mentions that are in my top 15, but again, my number 15 is interchangeable. I'm not married to that one.
Who's your 15th?
Sean Durzi.
Okay.
I get Sean Durzi there.
Yeah.
Listen, injuries have really messed him up. Like, he's been really unlucky in that sense. But when he is on, like, this guy is actually a pretty good offensive bottom 4 defenseman. He's put up about a half a point per game pace in his career so far. But again, only 244 games. I wouldn't be mad if he's an honorable mention. I just think he's got a bit of an X factor offensively. Smooth skater. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Sean Durzi, but I think he does bring some sort of value.
Look, I think he would have been in. I considered all this. I think he was in my top 20.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know, 17, 18. Look, he was on my list. Of when I ranked, when I was trying to rank 11 to 15, the name was there. Yeah. But like you said, because of the injuries, I probably said, okay, he's not. I don't know about his future. But it's defendable at 15. But who's your number 10?
I have.
Give me a hint.
A player from a team that we both really like. Barrett Hayton of the Utah Mammoth.
Okay.
Stay with me now.
Yeah.
Stay with me.
I want to hear this. Yeah.
He's the first line center there. And I understand it won't be for too long. Okay. Logan Cooley's excellent. He's going to supplant him. Caleb Desnoyers is going to supplant him. Ultimately, he'll likely be their third line center, or he'll be traded. But Snake, how many centers have we named in this draft? Boom! 0.
Not
He is
even the
best
guy
center
drafted.
in this draft. He's the
Not
best
even
center in
the
this draft.
not even the guy drafted by Montreal, who I'm sure we're going
Yeah.
to discuss in a couple
He's
of
a
minutes.
line winger on the Carolina Hurricanes. He's not
Yeah.
even a center anymore. Barrett Hayton is the only decent center to come out of this draft. And I say decent, okay? Like, he is just okay. He's got good chemistry with Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz. Probably the reason why he's, in that number one chair. He's been okay in his career. I mean, 134 points in 301 games. I think we all expected more offense out of him. He was drafted 5th overall. I mean, we remember with Team Canada, he was unreal at the World Juniors. So maybe, obviously disappointing. But again, I like the fact that he does still have a bit of upside, and the fact that he's a center. He's the only center on the list.
Look, I think for a top 5 guy, he was pretty underwhelming.
Oh, easily.
And I remember that, who's this guy's name? John Chaika, the GM at the time, their young GM. I think he was your age when he was the GM of the Coyotes, wasn't he? He was in his 20s.
Oh, my God.
And I remember he said after the draft that he had a fixation on Barrett Hayton's games, and he watched all his games during the year. He loved that player. So it was kind of intriguing because I never saw much offensive potential in Hayton when he was playing with the Sioux Greyhounds. But Chaika loved him, and I'm not sure everyone had him ranked 5th on their list.
No.
It was a little bit of a surprise. Now, it took him a few years to take off, but I have to say the last couple of years, he was fine. And I did consider him, but I find that, look, you make a case for the top 15, not top 10, not for me.
Yeah.
You make a case for the top 15. I just find that he does lack offense, especially considering with who he's playing now.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, he's useful, but to me, he's a third line center, like you say, and it's going to happen one day.
Yeah, exactly.
But he has the stats of a middle of the lineup player. He doesn't have this, or even a third liner. He doesn't have the stats of a main, a number one guy. Look, I think 10th way too high for me, but top 15 defendable. We'll see what the future will hold. Will he be useful on a good Utah team in the playoffs as a third line center eventually? The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives him value. But if you just draft him out of context, I don't think he's going to be as useful for certain teams as he would be with others. Because if you put him in your top 6, you're not going to have a very good team.
No, that's it.
But if you put him as the number 3 center because you have 2 guys who are much better than him, then he becomes useful. So in that sense, I think it's a good fit. He's going to be in Utah for quite a while, I would say, and just downplay his role a little bit.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was fun. But we have to talk about KK.
Okay, so before we do, I think what we just talked about is a very good indication of how poor the 2018 draft was in terms of depth. And I can already smell the comments, me saying, which other centers have we named? Ryan McLeod is playing center for the Buffalo Sabres, kind of is a center, but he's also a bit of a winger.
Yes.
Right. So he's kind of both. I'm talking pure center here. Yeah. So that's why I kind of gave the edge for Barrett Hayton.
Hayton is the best.
Outside of the top 15, I have no problem with that. Like anything below 8 is a complete crapshoot. Like you're just throwing names. So anyways, but let's go to the guy who's drafted 3rd overall, who is not even on our list. He's playing 4th line wing on the Carolina Hurricanes. Talk about a fall off, Snake.
Yeah, look, I think Kotkaniemi has been discussed in length in Montreal over the last few years. Now he's become more of a footnote with the Habs becoming a very good team. But his selection was controversial over the years because I think it was a reach. The Habs were looking for a big centerman. and it was not the year of the centerman. And I think it was a reach. I remember Trevor Timmons saying he didn't like Quinn Hughes because he didn't think he was going to be able to defend in the NHL. I totally didn't agree, although I don't think Hughes is a great defensive player, but I thought he made up for it because of his offensive skills. But you know what? I'm not going to blame Timmons on this one. I said the same thing about Lane Hudson. Okay? And Hudson, without being great defensively, he manages. He manages to do well. And what he does offensively really takes over whatever defensive mistake or lack of strength he can have once in a while. You know, if you make 20 great plays and 5 bad plays, in my book, you're plus 15. And that's how I saw Quinn Hughes at the time. So to me, today I hear a lot of, they should have taken Brady Tkachuk. No, Zadina was the pick here.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he was doing well in the queue. I thought he was a little bit on the lazy side, and in the NHL that didn't work well. So that's why he's he didn't become the scorer that some thought he was going to be. As for Kotkaniemi, he was a reach. I think he had a couple of great U18 tournaments, both in February and April, and that's when the hype started on this guy. But most public lists had him 15th, 16th, 14th, 13th. So he was probably, I would be curious to see the NHL lists. I think he was much higher on Bob McKenzie's list because Bob McKenzie was doing a survey of scouts. Yeah. I think he was 5th on that list. So, maybe teams saw him as a potential guy. But like I always say, the U18 tournaments, be careful. These guys are not playing against older players. They're playing against their peers. And to me, that's not a very good evaluation tool when you play against your peers, because you got to show that you can play better within an older age group to show that you're going to be a great NHLer. So I'm very, very wary of these U18 tournaments. I fell into that trap before, and I said I would never do it again. And I think that's what happened with Kotkaniemi. The second thing is Kotkaniemi, from what I heard, from what we've all heard, is that he didn't have a great work ethic. Okay? There were reports that, he didn't want to practice face-offs, do a little bit of overtime after practice to work on his face-offs. So maybe that was part of it. But I also thought that he was kind of a bizarre player. You remember the goals that he would score, like the puck that would ricochet on his helmet, and he was awkward. He skated. He looked like Bambi on skates.
Yeah, it was rough.
I think he had because he was a tall guy, and I think he was a little bit awkward on his skates. Look, I didn't see the hockey sense that he supposedly had. So to me, it was kind of a puzzling pick at number 3, except for the fact that they really reached for a center. And look, had they taken Barrett Hayton, would people be happy in Montreal right now? Not that much, if you want my opinion. I think he would be considered fine, and considering, again, like Utah, the Habs with Barrett Hayton would be very happy to have Barrett Hayton at center right now. Maybe as a second line guy and waiting to become a third line guy at some point.
Yeah.
But it was not a bad year. It was not a good year for centerman. That's all.
Oh, horrible.
So you do not reach. I know that, and that's where the draft is cruel, because one year you might draft very high. You need a type of player, and that position is not very deep. But then the year after, you draft high again, but that position becomes deep. And like the San Jose Sharks, they drafted 3 forwards with their top 4 picks. Really, they needed a defenseman, but you can't reach for these guys.
Take the best player available. Yeah.
You can't take Lev Shunov if you have Celebrini.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Imagine. You can't take Michael Misa. You can't take another. You have to take Michael Misa. You can't take another defenseman, because after Schaefer, there was really a drop.
Yeah, it's like Jackson Smith, Kashawn Aitchison.
Exactly. So that's the bad luck of the draw, let's call it. And that's what happened with Kotkaniemi. And it probably didn't help in Turterman's losing his job.
Oof.
Because I remember Jeff Molson saying the day he was fired that he said we had 2 very high picks that didn't pan out. These guys are supposed to be good.
Exactly.
So I think that's it at all.
Well, Snake, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this exercise, and I hope you all did too. And let us know your top 10 of the 2018 draft. I'm not going to ask for the top 15 because we're going to get some wonky answers there. But top 10, let's send us your top 10. We'll have a discussion there. Snake, before we move on, of course, got to give a big thank you to our partners who make this show possible. I want to start with our friends over at Cheapest T-Shirts. Folks, it's simple. If you're looking for the cheapest prices on wholesale apparel in Canada, you will find them at cheapesttshirts.ca. They are proudly Canadian and trusted by thousands of customers from coast to coast. They deliver unbeatable value every day. You'll always get the cheapest prices plus same-day shipping and even next-day delivery, so your order arrives fast. They have over 1,000 products and more than 36 trusted brands like Gildan, Jerseys, American Apparel, M&O, and Comfort Colors. The selection is unmatched. Enjoy free shipping on larger orders and a simple, easy-to-use website that makes online ordering a breeze. Get the cheapest deals in Canada today at cheapesttshirts.ca. You want to start your holiday shopping? You know where to do it. And of course, don't select a bust with Betway. Get a deposit matchup bonus up to $300 on your first deposit. You scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. The offer is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 years or older. Please play responsibly. Folks, I apologize. It's going to be a longer show today, but we promised you Snake's Hot Take. So we're going to get to Snake's Hot Take. Snake, you kind of teased this one before talking about the 2026 draft. What's your hot take about that?
Yeah, it's early. It's November. But I think that the World Juniors this year might show fans a guy that they haven't seen very much so far because he plays in Sweden. And his name is Ivar Stenberg. I'm pronouncing it the American way or the English Canadian way because Stenberg is not the way to pronounce it in Sweden. If you listen to the commentators over there, I think it's something like Stenberg or whatever. Anyway, there's no G at the end.
We know who you're talking about.
He'll become just like Forsberg. He'll become Stenberg.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a guy who is one of the oldest players in the draft, and because he's born on September 30th, 2007. And he's only 3 months older than Gavin McKenna. So they're late birthdays. So they're comparables, I would say. And I would say that Stenberg shows more of a pro style, refined game than McKenna so far. On top of being highly skilled. Okay, maybe he doesn't have the same skill as McKenna in terms of passing or some of the moves that McKenna makes. But this guy, he's also a winger, but he goes into traffic. He is very good defensively. He's very, very strong. And I think he's one of the top Swedish prospects in years, if not the best. He's better than Anton Frundell, who's very good, drafted by Chicago. And I'm curious to see what he's going to do at the World Junior Championship. I wouldn't be surprised if he outplayed McKenna. And when I mean outplay, I mean against strong teams. If McKenna gets 7 points against whatever, Norway or Poland, or even if Stenberg gets all these points, I don't really care. I want to see the games, against Canada, against the States, Sweden, Finland. Those are the top teams. And I think Stenberg right now, I don't think he's underrated because scouting services having number 2 or number 3 on their lists. But I think the gap between Stenberg and McKenna is not as wide as some people think. And I don't know. I'm curious to see how it'll play out. I still think McKenna is going to be drafted number 1 because he's Gavin McKenna.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, with Dahlin and Quinn Hughes 7 years ago, I don't see much of a gap. And so far this season, considering I've been more impressed with Stenberg. Now, they play in different leagues. And McKenna is very often given the excuse that, he was playing junior hockey. He's not 18 yet. He's playing in the NCAA. It's not easy. He has to adapt. Okay, well, Macklin Celebrini played at 17 in the NCAA. Keaton Verhoff is playing at 17 in the NCAA. And Stenberg, who's 18 now, although he's like, I'm not crazy about the Swedish league. We've done a show about this before, but it's still a pro league. To me, that's comparable to probably the East Coast League. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's maybe a notch better. I don't know. But comparable to the East Coast League, he's a pro. And he's always one of the best players on the ice. And so he's not playing junior hockey, because a lot of these Swedish guys, when they're drafted, they play in junior U20 or U18. This guy is playing in the top league. And I think he has 13 points in 18 games, something like that. But he's always very dangerous. He's very visible. He's very strong. So that's my take of the week. Don't discard this guy as, a very, how can I say this? Don't discard this guy as someone who could become the best player in that draft.
Oh, I like it. I like it a
lot.
Listen, drafts are always more fun when there are debates, right? When, okay, is it this guy? Is it this guy? Right? Remember 2018, right? It was Rasmus Dahlin. There's no question about it, right? It was Connor Bedard. It was Celebrini. It was Schaefer. There's no debate there. But if we can actually have a bit of a debate here, this could be really fun. It's like you said, it's probably still going to be McKenna.
Yeah, and McKenna's going number 1, but like Bedard was going to go number 1. But today, and this could be for another show, Bedard or Leo Carlson. Or let me ask you, if Kyle Davidson from the Hawks calls up, what's his name, Pat Verbeek in Anaheim, and says, okay, 1 for 1. I give you Bedard, you give me Carlson. What does Verbeek say? And Bedard was like so ahead of Carlson at the time.
Yeah.
It was not even a 2-horse race. It was, who's going to be number 2? Well, Carlson, there was Fenty. There was now Bedard, although he's having a good season, and he's going to score tons of points.
Yeah.
The idea is that sometimes what we imagine before a draft becomes reality, but sometimes it doesn't when it comes to how better the number 1 pick is. I think with Macklin Celebrini, there's no debate. Although Ivan Demidov is very good, I think there's no debate.
Still second, though.
Yeah, but still second. Where Bedard, who knows? So that was the pick of the week.
Yeah. Lou Carlson's having a heck of a season. Yeah. I also have him on my fantasy team, by the way. So I'm
good. You're redeeming yourself now.
But hey, I'm doing pretty good. So I had one rough take there. One rough. That was a great hot take, Snake. That was really fun. And folks, let us know in the comments section if you've been watching Ivar Stenberg. I don't know if I pronounced it right, but hey, he's gonna be Stenberg. Okay, we're used to it. Let us know if you've watched him and how you've enjoyed his game. Snake, let's move along here to the mailbag. As we do every week, we take a question from the comment section from our previous show, and today we have Mathieu Leboeuf asking, saying great show. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. The question here is, are the teams underweighing the impact of a prone to injury player? Giving examples such as Kirby Dach, Caden Gooley, Nolan Patrick, right? Another one could be Caden Lindstrom. And also in trade, right? So right? Josh Norris for Dylan Cousins. Josh Norris his shoulder is just disintegrating. It's crazy. And how would you include this factor in your analysis? Very interesting point.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. And well, first of all, for draft, it's a little bit harder because except for guys like, let's say, Galen Lindstrom that you mentioned, there was Alex Galchenyuk back in the day, Morgan Riley. It's very rare that junior players, Nolan Patrick, will suffer major injuries during their junior years. You have to consider it, but you might also say he's young, he's going to recover. It was bad luck. Look, Connor McDavid had a broken collarbone in his first season in the NHL. He's never been injured afterwards. So what is injury prone? Is it a guy who doesn't protect himself well? Is it a guy who's had several injuries to different parts of his body? Or it's always the same injury that reappears? So yeah, in the case of Caden Lindstrom, did I take it into consideration? The answer is yes. In the case of Nolan Patrick, honestly, I didn't, because I just didn't think he was that good.
Yeah.
That's all. So I think he would be a fine player right now if he had played in the NHL, but it would be more of a middle of the lineup player than the star player that some people saw. So for junior players, I think it's a little bit harder because they have less of a history. For trades, however, oh boy, yes, do I take it into consideration? Give me Nick Suzuki before Josh Norris, if you know what I mean. I'm not talking about performance on the ice. I'm talking about durability. Yeah. So when you make a trade like this, I was shocked about the Norris trade. I understand they want to get rid of Dylan Cousins. I understand they wanted an established player. But really, Josh Norris had proven that he was injury prone. Am I concerned about Caden Gooley? Of course. My colleague Mathias Brunet would often say, well, this is bad luck. But at some point, I think some people would agree with me that he doesn't protect himself very well.
And Snake, the most recent injury happened on a non-contact play.
Yeah.
He was just skating and something popped. I don't know what happened, but
yeah. So I think you have to take it into consideration. And sometimes guys like these, as good as they are, they have to be considered as trade baits. And that's exactly what Ottawa did with Josh Norris.
Oh, man.
So yeah, I do pay a lot of attention to it because a player on IR is a useless player.
Of course. Yeah.
That's it.
Unfortunate, but that's the reality of the situation. Yeah. And thank you to Mathieu for the great question. Snake, that'll do it for us today. Anything else to add before we get out of here?
No, I'll see you next week.
Excellent. Well, thank you to Juliana back at Master Control. Crushed it as always. Thank you, Snake. And we'll be back on Monday to talk some Habs prospects, maybe a little more Alexander Zurovsky.
Oh, yes, we will. Oh, yes, we will.
He is on fire. So you know what to do, folks. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. Hit the hype button so everybody else can watch this show. We have a ton of fun doing this, and we're going to keep going. And we hope you're having fun as well. So for Simon the Snake Boisvert, I'm producer Shayne. This has been another edition of the Sick Podcast. Trust the process. We'll see you Monday.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, Trust the Process on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.